Get out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even in my feelings, grind don't stop. Got big dreams, want big rocks. I got plans, you got talk. Heard it's real cheap, but it's really gon' cost. I'm tryna get these ends, building empires with my friends. I'm about handling my business. No time for stress over bullshit. You think success is an option? I'm tryna get this shit poppin' like woo. Big moves, my rules. Y'all heavy on the tweeting. I'll disappear a whole season like woo. Who said they looking for me? I'ma make.
Hey DeMarie TV family, everything I say in this video is alleged, just in my opinion, and it is for entertainment purposes only. So, you know, we have another situation with a high-powered man who has been accused of SA. So today, Vin Diesel was accused of SA in a lawsuit by a former assistant. The suit has been made possible, of course, by all the Me Too legislation, and it's described as an alleged assault in the St. Regis Hotel suite in 2020. So this is a former assistant to the actor Vin Diesel, and the lawsuit was filed in LA, alleging that the Fast and Furious star essayed employee while she was working for him in 2010 during filming of Fast 5. So Vin Diesel and representatives from his company, they have not had a comment or a response to this, so he has not yet made a statement. But in the lawsuit that was filed in LA, the plaintiff's name is Asta Jonathan, and she said that she was hired by Vin Diesel's company, One Race, to work for the actor on location in Atlanta where Fast 5 was in production. She states that she's a recent film school program graduate at the time, and her responsibilities was organizing parties, accompanying Vin Diesel to parties, and ensuring that she was in close proximity to him in case photographs were taken of him with women when he attended events without his longtime girlfriend. That right there don't make much sense to me. Like, what's the purpose of that? Is it because his girlfriend was insecure and, you know, I don't know. Is it because she is supposed to ward off other women? That was kind of odd to me, but that's what she claims was a part of the role that she played. She says late one night in September of 2010, Jonathan was asked to wait in Diesel's suite at the St. Regis Hotel while he entertained hostesses that he brought back from a club. Once the other women were gone, she says Vin Diesel grabbed her wrist with one of his hands and pulled her onto his bed, and she asked him to stop, escaped his grasp, and waited by the front door of the suite for him to leave. Now, instead of the lawsuit says he again approached her and began to grope her upper chest area and to kiss her upper chest area, despite her pleas to stop. Ms. Jonathan was afraid to more forcibly refuse her supervisor, knowing that getting him out of the room was both crucial to her personal safety and her job security. But the hope soon died, she says, when he dropped to his knees, pushed her dress up towards her waist, and began to put his hands in inappropriate places. Okay? So, according to the lawsuit, once Diesel moved to pull her undergarments off, she screamed and ran down the hallway towards the bathroom, where Diesel pinned her to the wall, placed her hand on him, even as she verbally refused it, and he began to do inappropriate things with her hand, and she was terrified. She closed her eyes and she tried to disassociate herself from what was happening at the moment. She wanted to disassociate from the SA so that he would not be angered. She was trying to basically de-escalate the situation. Hours later, the suit alleges that Samantha Vincent, who is Vin Diesel's sister, the president of One Race, called Jonathan to terminate her employment after less than 2 weeks on the job. Now, to her, it's clear she was being fired because she was no longer useful to Vin Diesel. He used her to fulfill his SA desires, and she resisted the SA Okay, I'm trying to be very careful here. But she says that her self-esteem was demolished and she questioned her own skills and whether a successful career will require her to trade her body for advancement. This seems to be such a common theme amongst all of these lawsuits. All of the lawsuits. L.A. Reid, Diddy, Jimmy Iovine. I mean, all of the lawsuits. This is such a common theme that they demoralize these women. The women feel diminished and they harm their careers. And this was not the first inappropriate incident that occurred while she was working for him, according to the lawsuit. Just a few days before, another One Race supervisor summoned her to his own room at St. Regis while she was on duty, where he took off his shirt, got in the bed and said, "Come here," and she immediately left the room. So this was, based on what she's saying, this was likely common practice with them, and I would wonder if there's more people out there. On top of S battery, the lawsuit claims, among other things, discrimination on the basis of sex and gender, intentional infliction of emotional distress, a hostile work environment, wrongful termination, and retaliation. And it also accuses Diesel and his production of an attempted cover-up, and states that Jonasson suffered and continues to suffer humiliation, emotional distress, mental and physical pain and anguish. According to the lawsuit, and we've heard this numerous times before as well, she signed a non-disclosure agreement when she took on the position with One Race, and she maintained her silence over the years because, like everyone else, she assumed because she signed that, she could not say anything. It's just now that people are finding out you can't use a non-disclosure agreement to hide criminal acts. And I cannot repeat that enough. That is so important for us as women to understand. In the workplace, a non-disclosure agreement can be put in place for a celebrity to maintain their privacy, or a boss or a CEO or the company to remain, so that certain things can remain confidential. But it is not something that can keep someone quiet once someone has attempted to essay them, made inappropriate gestures towards them. Any breaking of the law, they cannot use a non-disclosure agreement against you. You are allowed to go file charges and tell. Okay, so the suit claims that she was able to file the claims thanks to the Speak Out Act, which prevents the enforcement of non-disclosure agreements in instances of SA and harassment, and California's AB 2777, which temporarily waives statutes of limitations for SB allegations occurring in 2009 or later. The suit also says that she was empowered by the hashtag #MeToo and Time's Up movements, which inspired her to reclaim her agency and justice for the suffering she endured at the hands of Vin Diesel and One Race. She's now back to work in the industry as an assistant and production coordinator, among other roles, and we're going to see how this plays out. You know, the Fast and Furious franchise is massive. It's huge, and Vin Diesel is the face of that. It's going to be interesting to see how this is impacted by this lawsuit. Is he going to settle? Will he not? I would suspect that, watching what happened with Diddy and Cassie, a lot of these men are going to want to probably fight these charges, because the quick settlement with regard to Cassie basically just, it was such a huge admission of guilt. I think I wasn't there. I tend to believe these women because, the stories are all so familiar. It's almost like an understood kind of process that these people are going through and how they do these things. It's weird. A lot of the stories are exactly the same. You could just overlay them. They're in hotels. They have the women locked in the rooms. This is Harvey Weinstein did his things in hotels. Diddy's accused of hotels. So much of this is happening in hotel rooms. And I'm just wondering, from an industry standpoint, should there be some rules put in place that eliminate business from happening in hotel rooms between a man and a woman? Why does that have to happen there? Most hotel rooms have conference rooms. Most hotel rooms, you got to find a space that is kind of open and neutral, where you're not behind a locked door with the bed and all this. It's just weird and it's uncomfortable, and something needs to be done about this because women are being taken advantage of too much in these spaces. I used to travel for 8 years, and I never would go into certain spaces in hotel rooms with colleagues and coworkers. I just, I watched what I drank. I really watched how I moved in those situations. And that's not to blame the victims, but what it is speaking to is me being uncomfortable myself with being behind certain closed doors with people, because these types of things can happen. And so it was just my way of being protective of myself and just kind of going the extra mile to ensure that I did everything I could to stay out of situations that could turn into this. It's a very fine line. It's tricky, and unfortunately for a lot of people, women and men, these things are happening. But the good thing about this is that people are coming out, they're speaking up. The more people speak up, other people are coming out, and we're going to watch in 2024 how this all plays out. These people are going to have to answer to these accusations, and I am here for it. I want to see what their answers are. And if they are in fact guilty of these things, they should have to pay a price for it. Point blank, period. They should absolutely have to pay a price for that. So I'm gonna stay on top of this one, just like the rest of them, and we'll see where it goes. You guys, what do you think about this? Are you shocked that Vin Diesel is now another powerful man in this situation? Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Please hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I make a new video, and share the video, you guys. The more people who know about these things, the better we're able to protect ourselves and get these people away from the society. We do not need so many of these people who do these things operating in our society. It's time for everyone to be outed and people to say what happened to them, who did it, and hold them accountable. I look forward to following up on this and see where this goes. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.
Get out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even if my feelings grind don't stop. Got big dreams.